Good evening, everyone. Thank you, IHMA, for arranging this late night party. Today's presentation is more on the paucity of symptoms and how to handle cases with the paucity of symptoms in our day to day practice, which is really inevitable. Every case you cannot treat with the totality of symptoms because some patients may not tell you all the symptoms they have, at least in the first sitting. I thank, before starting the presentation, I would like to thank Sri Sairam Homeopathic Medical College, the management, CEO sir, principal sir, staff members, students, and my loyal patients. All of them made me capable of standing in front of you today. Thank you very much once again.
See, today's presentation, I am trying to do my experiences with cases where you don't have a classical totality of symptoms. So it's usually happens in day-to-day practice. So I try to do the same. This is the first case I would like to share. Can you see the video, doctor?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. This is a case of left vocal cord nodule. 23 years, as I said, 23 years software engineer. This girl had a hoarseness of voice, and the presenting complaint was only hoarseness of voice and little pain in the throat. Based on the presenting complaints, I selected hyoscyamus and Beretta. But when I referred a Kent repertory, selenium was visible as a remedy for vocal cord nodules. Since lack of symptoms were there and patient wanted to stick on with homeopathy only, and she's not ready for any surgical intervention by ENT doctor, so I wanted to give a try to it. And after 1 month or 2 months of trial, the hoarseness disappeared. The lady even didn't get permission from me. She directly went to a ENT doctor and she checked her vocal cord again. You can see the left vocal nodule has reduced. The ENT doctor certified nalla. The hoarseness disappeared. Of course, classically speaking, if you call me it's a classical prescription, I say no. See, here I didn't want the patient to go to any surgery. I wanted to avoid surgery. See, only based on the presenting complaints, only based on the sufferings of the patient, I was just palliating the condition. Now, according to Heinemannian methods, when a patient comes with an acute problem, initially we'll have to handle the acute problem. We have to relieve the patient. Here I retain the patient, that is what the logic I am telling. Now, the next classical things comes is, once the patient is happy, once the patient got the confidence on homeopathic prescription, now all you can do is, even the patient does not have any symptoms, the intelligent physician during case taking can ascertain some hidden problems in the patient, which we call it as a latent sora. Now the patient may be in latent sora because of some basic problem, she would have had this problem. So now here, based on the generals of Kent's journals, I can ascertain the constitution of the patient. Now this is the right time to administer a constitutional treatment. So no symptoms were available, I could handle this. My regular followers in my seminars, they might have understood my personality by this time in seminars. I have presented so many papers on specifics in Heinemannian literature, specifics in pioneers literatures of homeopathy. Even Heinemann recommended so many specifics in our Heinemannian literature. Now a similar case came to me. He is from Ambur, nearby Chennai, and Mr. Abdul Hamid. Okay, he came with the same complaint, left vocal nodule. As usual, the patient was a chrome leather factory owner, and no other symptoms were present except the huskiness of voice and a little difficulty in swallowing. Since the previous condition worked in me, no other symptoms were available. I'm very choosy in cases. I'm not telling I'm not following Heinemannian methods or totality of symptoms. I have chosen for my subject few cases in which I have handled without any cases, positive symptoms. I'll come to the indolence. So this Mr. Abdul Hamid came to my clinic with the same presenting complaints, which was already diagnosed by ENT doctor. And as usual, ENT doctor recommended surgical intervention. Now, since the previous prescription worked on me, the same prescription was repeated. Selenium periodically, along with it, hyoscyamus and Beretta-Carb. Obviously, both of them are acting on the throat, and hoarseness of voice, purely based on the pathological symptoms. And you can see 19/1/2018, the last one you can see, the same doctor has certified no nodule is there. But unfortunately, I couldn't get the video here. The patient was not cooperative enough. So, but he was so happy the nodule was not there. See, the assumption here is the specific in these two cases, selenium, hyoscyamus, and Beretta-Carb worked in it. Of course, I will not leave the case. I'll again follow up with the psoric and anti-psoric remedies. Now coming to the topic. During our BHMS studies, BHMS and MD studies, we come across indolence, the short notes question, right? 2 marks or 5 marks they'll ask. Indolence, who are indolence? Literally speaking, indolence are those patients who doesn't want to work. They are lazy. They are very idle people. So Heinemann says, indolence are those patients who do not explain their symptoms properly. Classically, it is good. But practically, when you practice for so many years, most of the practitioners, senior practitioners will accept with me. We'll come across so many cases in our day-to-day practice where the patient, it's not because of the dullness or idleness, because of so many reasons like modesty, lack of interest in homeopathy medicines, lack of belief in homeopathic medicines, or the patient might have taken so many medicines in the past. So nothing worked out. So he just came for a trial. So obviously he'll not be cooperative. So though you are a skillful, too many questions may disturb him. Obviously homeopathic classical case taking is little disturbing to the patient, right? So he may not be cooperative to you. So in such cases, you cannot ask the patient only if you give totality of symptoms, only if you give my general symptoms and modalities, total picture, I'll prescribe you. Somehow we have to save the patient, or somehow we have to give the results. This in turn saved us. Like H.R. Roberts' first chapters will say, young man, what you are going to offer to homeopathy? At any cost, you have to handle the cases. Now the criticism may come, so it is not classical, so you're not doing a classical methods. If it is not classical, why Heinemann in 5th and 6th editions has included indolence and handling the cases with paucity of symptoms? Practical. Heinemann, in my opinion, is a very practical fellow. He was never a theoretical fellow. In fact, Organon was launched as a book theory only after practical implication of law of similarities. So we have to be very practical. We have to live for the principle, of course, but the ultimate principle of any doctor is to save the patient. So managing cases with partially suitable remedies, we already studied. I am not making theoretical. My late night party will get spoiled. You will sleep. This we already mastered in your BHMS classes. So why this paucity of symptoms happens? Practically, Heinemann said lack of sufficient well-proven remedies, which has been rectified now. We have a hell of a lot of medicines, more than 6,000 medicines in our Metromedica, well-proven remedies I'm talking about. And inability of the patient. Some patients may not be literate. They don't know how to give symptoms to the patient, doctor. So modesty of the patient in explaining the symptoms. Causes theoretically we can speak. This is another case. A lady of 39 years. She's just staying nearby my clinic, and as she's standing, when she entered in my clinic, her face itself will say she was not at all interested in homeopathy. She just launched into my clinic. She sat in my chair, next chair, patient's chair, and she was just throwing the files on my table. She said, I'm having migraine, treat me. No cooperation at all. Somehow I'll have to prescribe. So I try to take the case for 15 minutes. Nothing I could elicit except that she is a single parent. Husband is staying in Kuwait or Dubai, Middle East, is working somewhere, and she has to raise up 2 children. Everything falls on her head. So seems to be a pressure, a tension, a cluster kind of headache would have happened. So all the previous doctors diagnosed it as a migraine. So nothing was available. Paucity of symptoms were there. Patient was not at all cooperative. So worked on repertory with available data, natrum carb and spigelia, because of the weather conditions and modalities, whatever she said. I have chosen this natrum carb and spigelia. Alternatively, I prescribed. The first prescription within 20 days, she could able to get relief little bit, and she couldn't stop her allopathic medicines. Periodically, she was continuing that. Now, generally in my practice, in my teachings also, I'll ask my students, totality of symptoms we have to create, right? A classical totality cannot be elicited from even from a cooperative patient as long as the patient is taking allopathy medicines, because allopathy medicines are covering up the presenting complaints. That means the true totality is not elicited. Even if you try to elicit the totality, you cannot call it as a true totality. If you want to construct a true totality, ask the patient to stop medicines, ask the patient to abandon all the supportive measures, diet and regime, wait for 15 minutes, let 15 days, let the effect of the medicine come down, then you can elicit totality, right? So nothing left out here. Until unless you get the confidence of the patient, you cannot create the totality. This was the problem. So here I didn't want to lose the patient because already she tried all medications. I want to prove the superiority of homeopathy. So somehow with the available data, now the presenting complaints alone, I try to prescribe natrum carb and spigelia, which could relieve her within 1 month, 50% only. Now, after this 50% relief, second visit, her body language changed. She was cooperative. Now the true picture was in the history. She was an Ignatia patient, disappointed love. She had a great dreams of spending time with her husband. Of course, husband is good, but because of her financial problems or some problems, after marriage, husband went to Kuwait. She separated. She is not happy with the life, though everything is there. Loathing for love, loathing for affection. All these I elicited Ignatia, and periodically I started giving Ignatia 1M, I increased to 10M, which has improved drastically, and herself she stopped taking allopathy medications. So here also the same thing, like go to intermittent diseases in Heinemann chapter, the best time for prescribing any homeopathic medicine Hello? Hello?
Hello, doctor.
Doctor, is it okay?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, because I had some problem on internet. It's going good, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Presentation, voice and everything is okay?
Everything fine now.
Yeah, please. Thank you. So the Ignatia was prescribed and Ignatia is taking the case very nicely. Now, my definition of indolence is clear now. So according to old methods, 18th century, 19th century, indolence are the patients who are lazy. Because of their laziness and modesty, they cannot explain. But the indolence doesn't stop there. People, because of their inability, because of illiterate nature, because of not having any knowledge on homeopathy, or because they lost the trust on treatments, because they have been habituated to chronic treatments, they may become indolent. They don't give you the picture. But somehow you have to manage the case. Somehow we have to prove the superiority of homeopathy. Now, when I worked out so many literature of other authors, example, Dr. Dhawale and Dr. Castro, Benedict Castro, I could elicit how to handle or how to construct the picture with the indolence patients. The first thing is PQRS approach. peculiar, queer, rare, and strange symptoms you may elicit. These peculiar, queer may not be explained by the patient himself, or even you can elicit from the bystanders, the attenders coming along with the patient, or even the physician himself can observe. For example, the asthmatic symptoms of Sorainum, the asthmatic symptoms of Meserium, the position of asthmatic symptoms of Arsenic alba. So by just observing the patient, you can even elicit a picture. You need not take the entire picture, right? I'm just quoting some important points. Prescription based on causation. So this is the classical. So when you go to Heinemann, Heinemann says totality of symptoms are not important for the case. It is the causative prescription which is superior to totality of symptoms. So based on the causation also you can prescribe. You need not to take any other peculiar picture. Example, I had a case when I was practicing in Tambaram College OPD. A lady came with recently developed breathlessness. Allopathy doctor diagnosed as asthma and he gave nebulization and inhalation to her, which relieved her periodically. She came to me. Now, this is a typical case of asthma, but it was recently developed, some 1 month or 2 months back. No other symptoms were available because she was from a poor family. She could not elicit any symptoms. So I asked her, it started 2 months back. So what is the history behind 2 months back? And at that time, I hope it was November 2007 or something. It was an old case. And chikungunya was very prevalent. And the lady said after chikungunya fever, she started developing this asthmatic symptoms. I don't know whether it is asthma or some breathlessness or weakness of the lungs. Now, based on the causation, it came after the chikungunya attack. After she recovered from the chikungunya, she had this weakness. Now we have a point in theory of chronic diseases, Samuel Hahnemann. Any patient comes after epidemic fever, recovers after epidemic fever. Any epidemic fever, the patient will lose his power. The vital force will lose its power. So it becomes latent soric or anti-soric. So Heinemann recommends Hepar sulfuricum, Hepar sulf specifically to be prescribed any patient recovering from acute attacks or epidemic attacks. Example, even now we can do that. The COVID-19 patients when recovers, we can prescribe Hepar sulf, which becomes specific here. So the same thing I did in this case. I prescribed only Hepar sulf. Of course, I kept her on my favorite organopathic remedy, Aspidospirma. We have a list here, usage of organopathic remedies in indolent patients. So this Aspidospirma is known as cardiac tonic or cardiac asthma tonic. So I generally use Aspidospirma in every asthmatic patient. I kept it as an organopathic remedy along with what periodical repetition of Hepar sulf. So prescription based on causation, no totality was elicited. Third point is prescribing based on suppression. Sometimes the patient may not tell you the picture of the disease, the totality of the symptoms, but you can ask the patient the history, when it started, where it started. I can hint, you can get a hint of suppression. Example, I had a case of 18 years boy, okay, who had psoriasis developed all over his body. Obviously, as a last resort, they'll come to homeopathy. As I said, we are specialists to specialists. So they'll come to us after skin specialist fails. Now, during this case taking, the only thing I could elicit is he developed this psoriatic skin problem after the shot of hepatitis B vaccination. This was the only available data I could elicit, and I can observe the physical symptoms of psoriasis and all these things. Based on that, I could judge, I could repertorize, and I could go to Kent repertory, general chapter suppression, vaccination after. So I have elicited some remedies, and one after the other I prescribed. So I somehow handle the case of indolent in this. Prescription based on miasms, I need not to put any light on that. Prescribing nosodes, I think in our gathering today, Dr. Sumata is there, and she is fond of nosodes, and she'll be asking nosodes everywhere. We'll come to it later. Nosodes are gear changing. When any blockage happens in any case, we'll prescribe nosodes, right? So nosodes can be given in an indolent case where the patient says the problem started after any suppression or after any attack of viral or bacterial or any other disorder and no other symptoms are available, nosode prescription may help you to kickstart this disease or this case. The next point is handling the indolence, usage of organopathic remedies. Compton Burnett, my favorite. I have a quote at the end of this session made by Dr. Compton Burnett. Usage of organopathic remedies nowadays it is increasing, whereas in 10 years or 20 years back, prescribing mother tincture was a sin in homeopathy. Homeopathy means only single dose we have to prescribe. No such things are there. If such things are right, we have to remove Rauwolfia serpentina, we have to remove Aspidosperma from our Boric metromedica, right? We have to remove Justitia adathoda. So still we have that, and we recommend this to our students. So organopathic remedies can be applied effectively and artistically when you don't have any symptoms. And clinical tips, of course, it's favorite chapter for everyone. We go to seminars, webinars to collect clinical tips. This is the commonest case. Every senior doctor can prescribe the remedy. There are two remedies which generally indicated, Soranum and acid hydrofluoricum. So this lady came from Coimbatore, 4 years standing. The alopecia areata is there. So they tried all medications. This case I handled, no other symptoms were present. So I handled only with Soranum 0/1, acid hydrofluoricum 0/1, water dose. My favorite water dose, my students know about it. I take 2 pills and mix it in 10 spoons of water. 1 spoon the patient will take every 1 hour. And this repetition can be altering or changed according to the improvement. Soranum 0/1 and acid hydrofluoricum I prescribed in this case. And along with that, I learned one technique from my Siddha colleagues. Chinna vengayam, the small onions, can be rubbed on the particular affected area, which really works. I can keep it under a diet and regime of Dr. Samuel Heinemann's anti-psoriatic treatment. So along with my Soranum, acid hydrofluoricum, I also advise the patient to apply small onion juice, or small onions can be crushed and directly rubbed and kept it for half an hour to 1 hour and wash it thoroughly. And after 4 months, this was the result. And this happened 2 years back, and the patient is still good and healthy. Occasionally, I'm giving a case of Soranum. Now, another problem theoretically, when we read it, Heinemann says, when you try to manage a case with partially suitable remedies, the problem is development of accessory symptoms. The best doctrine of signature Heinemann says is, you cannot cut the law of simillimum remedy exactly suitable to the disease triangle. So because the paucity of symptoms are there, sometimes the remedy which is partially or partially suitable or administered may develop some accessory symptoms, which may be a problem in handling. But somehow we have to manage it. In such cases, how to handle them? In chronic cases, the several remedies in succession, a controversial topic in homeopathy and which confuses the students. And I want to clarify here, single remedy alone is not classical. Please make sure that. In 6th edition itself, Heinemann said, several remedies are required in chronic cases, one after the another. This chapter is taken from 6th edition of Organon, 162 to 171 aphorisms. In chronic psoriatic diseases, several psoriatic remedies, one after the another, is required till the patient is cured, because you cannot exactly select a single remedy which can fit the entire case because the patient is not cooperative because of indolence. Yeah, this is a remarkable case in my life, in my earlier days. It's an old picture actually. When I handled this case, this boy was around 15, 16 years. He was suffering with the autoimmune disorder, ichthyosis, fishy skin. So patient was very cooperative, but the problem is he was a very joyish boy. So I have chosen phosphorus based on his skin texture, the appearance, the eyebrows, the baby behavior, and all these things. I have chosen phosphorus, which for me was a constitutional remedy. But phosphorus not taking me to the cure. So maybe I thought ichthyosis is incurable according to our general medicine. It's autoimmune disorder, very tough to cure. So I may not be curing the case. But one day, the patient's mother said he is very childish in nature. He is not up to his age. He doesn't read properly. He's not having that motivational vigor in his body. So based on the symptoms, I just shift to Silesia. And you can see the first picture, the Silesia started proving. It started developing eruptions. So maybe I was wrong in my prescription. So Silesia started proving, the Silesia accessory symptoms started developing. I go to 12 observations or Heinemann's antisoric treatment. Whenever case takes a wrong direction or the aggravation is very bad, you will have to antidote it. I switched back to again phosphorus, and phosphorus did the work, and the patient got cured within a span of 6 years. Now, constructing totality. If no causation is available, patient is not cooperative, still you have to construct the totality. So this is what Heinemann says. The remaining disease symptoms of the patient has to be collected, and whatever accessory symptoms are developing, that also to be considered. These two, that means the disease symptoms remaining as well as the accessory symptoms produced either because of the wrongly chosen remedy or partially selected remedy. This entire picture can be taken as a present totality, and for this totality, you have to choose the remedy. And this doesn't solve you because you are still in a partially selected remedy. Until you reach your goal cure, one after the another, in succession, you have to repeat your doses. So you can see this case, a laborer from Chennai, and she had palmar plantar eczema. Of course, long-standing case which came to me. Obviously, no symptoms were available except that some ointment she kept on my table, some prescriptions of some doctors' prescriptions. So I have chosen graphitis. I have chosen multiple remedies, one after the another, till I could reach. But even in spite of all these things, you can see the second picture. Heinemann says, until unless the skin becomes as normal as the natural normal skin, you cannot declare the patient as cured. So this case is still under progress. Yeah, this I just wanted to present. It's a very memorable case for me. Hydrocele, the boy is around 18 years and he's suffering with severe autoimmune disorder. And he is under allopathic medication, totally addicted to steroidal treatments. And this hydrocele case came, and somehow I'll have to handle this based on the available data. Rhododendron and digitalis I have selected, purely based on the available data, local symptoms. And hydrocele could get cured within 2 months. No recurrences. I was following for 6 months to 1 year. But unfortunately, the patient died because of other complications. I just wanted to present this case to boost the confidence of junior homeopaths, because most of the senior homeopaths or previous doctors used to say hydrocele cannot be handled or cured by homeopathy. Still, so many people are telling that. So I tried rhododendron and digitalis in this case. No recurrence was there, but I couldn't save the patient. Based on the same data, so I started developing specifics. I told you openly, I'm telling whether you like it or you don't like it. So the same combination of rhododendron and the digitalis I administered in another starting case of hydrocephalus in a small boy, and you can see the results. Purely the specifics work over here, and I've been trying so many hydrocele cases now. This already presented in a previous presentation webinar. I have another case, similar case, I'll tell you that. It was a case of olecranon bursitis, 72 or 73 years man. Okay, he was hale and healthy, no other presenting complaints were there. Just he got a hit on his elbow and which got swollen. And the orthopedician obviously wanted to operate this, which the patient didn't want to. So no other available data was present. I just wanted to go pathologically. Initially, based on the injury, I wanted to try arnica, but somehow my instinct didn't help me. It didn't recommend me. So I wanted to stick on to Ruta. I presented this case. First 1 month water dose, Ruta didn't work, but I still continued. I increased the potency, but repeated the water dose. The second month, I could see the improvement. The patient sent me these photos through WhatsApp. And this is a recent case. Another old man of 68 years, the same diagnosis by orthopedician, olecranon bursitis. No symptoms were present. He didn't have any other chronic diseases. No problem was there. So same Ruta water dose worked me. You can see the difference here. Maybe Ruta worked out because it acting on the connective tissues or tendons or some other material, bursitis. So indolents are common in our practice. Indolence will be there, and you cannot expect totality of symptoms each and every case. This is what your skill. A skillful physician by any means can collect. I strongly recommend, please go and read Logic of Repertories by Benedict Castro. There you'll find how to handle, how to prescribe differently in each and every case where you don't have totality of symptoms, where paucity of symptoms are there. Different approaches Dr. Castro recommends. Now I said organopathic remedy, master of organopathic remedy, Compton Burnett. Palliation is the first step to cure. Yeah, cure is our goal, ultimate goal, but cure is not that easy. Second aphorism, easy to tell, but very tough to reach in our day-to-day practice. Not at least all cases that come to you. But as a practitioner, our aim is to relieve the patient, palliate, but not suppress. Thank you for your patience. My part is over.
Hello.
Yeah, doctor, you can take over.
Okay. It was really a wonderful session, sir. Very informative.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay. Actually, your session was boosting our confidence, even to handle such troublesome and difficult cases. And we are very thankful to you. In a short period, you made us our confidence double. Okay. And we thank you. We IHMA, Perindamana chapter. Thank you for all the efforts you have put forward for a
Thank you very
nice
much.
occasion. Thank you, sir.
We can discuss the points. If
Yeah,
any.
sure, sir. Thanks.
I may learn from them.
Sir, myself, Dr. Dixit Lakhani. Please, sir, some experience in the tinea case. It is very difficult to handle nowadays. Please, sir.
Yes, sir. Recently, like as I said, in any skin disorder, basically, I will choose a principal remedy. I will choose another acute remedy which relieves the patient instantly. And remedies I started advising the patient in any skin disorder, including psoriasis. Please note that point. One is neem oil. Second one is coconut oil. Third one is lemon extract. And the fourth one is turmeric. Along with my homeopathic medication, I'll advise the patient to apply on the surface. I know it is contradictory. I'll support it. See, if I don't do all these things, the patient will go and apply steroids, steroid alignment. First point.
Hello, sir. Please share experience in renal stone.
Yes, sir. Renal stone, I think it's quite regular with every doctor. I just wanted to include one case, but I excluded it because it's very quite common. Every homeopathy doctor would have had a success story of renal stones. Recently, I think in 2019, I presented one paper in Chennai on bronchial asthma to see another presentation by a senior doctor, my senior doctor. And he recommended Artica urens, tabacum, and terebinthina. So these three remedies generally indicated, usually successful. I learned this tip from him and I started applying on each and every patient. So first thing I do is, the main problem with any homeopathic doctor is handling the acute, which with very hardships and experience you learn. Even I had a suffering when I was a newcomer and beginner. When the patient comes with acute pain, first you have to relieve. Otherwise, he will not stop. He will not wait for you. He'll go and join in nursing home. So by any cost, based on the presenting complaints, you'll have to choose and present the remedy. Approach number 282, Heinemann says, the recently developed acute miasmatic diseases not only bear, but also require frequent repetitions. So you have to repeat either by water dose or some other means. You have to reduce the pain first. Once the pain reduces, he'll listen to you. So then all your classical methods will come. So I strongly recommend Berberis vulgaris, even Sabal cerulata I started applying in renal stones, and Sarsaparilla, Artica urens, tabacum, and terebinthina you can try.
Sir, medicine for warts on neck.
Excuse me, sir, come again.
Warts on neck region.
Warts on neck region.
It's common.
Yeah. Like warts generally, I go by repertory only, sir. I just make a thumb method of repertorization. And I prescribe the remedy. Generally we do warts on the fingers, warts on the palms, warts on the thumb. So I just go by repertory. But I stick on to 200 potency and 1 potency. I have with photographs.
Sir, Ruta, which potency you were using, sir?
Ruta, generally my favorite potency is 200, madam. 200
Thank
potency, I'll start and I'll jump to 1M.
Sir,
Thank you so much.
rhododendron में potency?
200, basically, I think 200 and 200 digitalis and 200 rhododendron. In both the cases, it did my work.
वोकल कोड में सब साथ में ही दिया था सर, सिलेनियम, आयोसाइमस, बराइटाकाप.
Sir, Iosamus Beretacam, I altered. I claim. See, I am an organon professor. I have written a book on organon, comprehensive study of organon. It's going since 2009 with the BGN publishers. But when it comes to as a practitioner, I quote acute totality and chronic totality. You have to separate. And even Heinemann altered cases. My aim is to retain the patient. Don't send him to allopathy. If he stays with me, that is my success. So in this case, I first prescribed Hyoscyamus and Beretacap, and selenium was administered 0/1 periodically. Weekly once or 15 days once I repeated.
Sir, any case of varicocele you have treated successfully?
Varicocele, I don't think so, madam. I don't have any cases right now varicocele. One Mr. Satish, sorry, I took his name. One patient came to my clinic. It was very big. I couldn't retain the patient. Next visit, he didn't come back. I don't know why. Maybe because of the suffering. I might have failed in it.
Mhm.
Sir, please suggest medicine for oligospermia. Motility was come.
Sir, infertility and chronic cases, it's not emergency. So obviously, I recommend individualization in the case. Based on the case, we'll have to unlock the case based on the symptoms. And here also pathological prescription. Like what is the reason for oligospermia? Is it organic or is it some secondary to any pathological condition? So based on that, I'll select the remedy because there is a time for that. I don't recommend every case to be handled with palliatives. Please.
How can we treat tinea infection, sir?
Tinea infection, just now I put a focus on. Along with the remedies selected, I said we can go for some naturopathic local applications like neem oil, just now I said, coconut oil and lemon. I'll ask the patient to avoid lemon if any breakage in the skin is there or any bleeding is there. In the healing stage, if you apply lemon, it removes the debris and healing really becomes faster. And if it is on the head, the small onions I learned from Siddha doctors.
Do we
Sir-
mix all of it, sir? In what proportion we have to mix the oils?
I didn't get you, madam. Please come again.
In how do we mix the oil? We have to mix neem oil, coconut oil, lemon extract, and turmeric. So what proportion?
Yeah. No. It's not like that. You are not mixing the entire one based on the skin texture of the patient and necessity of the patient and type of the disease. If it is an autoimmune disorder like psoriasis and eczema, I generally recommend only virgin coconut oil. And if it is a fungal infection, neem oil or turmeric. Usually turmeric will not be entertained by gents. Male patient does not like it. So he'll go for neem oil.
Okay.
So this is how I choose.
Thank you, sir.
And if at all necessary, you can mix it like 15 ml of our medicine like echinacea or calendula or any other medicine can be mixed along with neem oil.
This lemon extract is for tinea cases, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And it really worked in my case. I don't know. Along with my medications, I
Yeah.
invariably recommend that.
Have heard it somewhere else also, lemon extract.
See, I am working in Sairam College where we are really fortunate enough to have Siddha doctors and Ayurvedic doctors. Whenever we converse with them, we discuss with them, we come across with we share certain
Yes.
ideas among.
That's really good for knowledge sharing.
Yeah.
Sir, any experience in multiple cones, painful
Multiple
cones in
painful cons. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir. I am treating 2 cases, but the case is not yet finished. It's a banker actually. She is from Andhra Pradesh, working in Andhra Bank. The con is really big. It's almost 2 to 3 inches. It has spoiled case actually. Once it got operated, I'm still handling it. Its case is still half finished. There I am doing a surgeon's work. Initially, I prescribed Silesia 1M water dose, and it was severely painful and some discharge came out. And after that, I am handling with Silesia 3X, antimonium crudum 200, and in succession, I am doing it. If the case completes, maybe in some other occasion, we can share the case with photographic evidence. Other normal cases, easily you
How
can treat
to-
with, yeah, please.
Sir, how to handle the sleeping disorder, sir?
Very
With
tough.
depression.
Very tough. I agree. It depends upon the skill of the patient. Keeping up the patient itself is a challenge. Like we have a lot of remedies for depressions, but in my opinion, you have to go for constitutional approach only. Until unless you find the causation and give solution. Once you identify and touch the patient's problem and give some solution, really, it unlocks. It's purely a chemical balance, right? And she's unable to find out a problem. I think counseling is very important, like we do in mental disorders of Heinemann, mental diseases. I recommend Constitution, sir, to make it simple.
Sir,
Please.
sir, how to differentiate between the eczema of skin and fungal infection, sir?
I think it's a practice of medicine question. See, the plus point with most of the homeopathic doctors is by the time the patient comes to you, diagnosis has been done. The patient would have gone to so many other specialists, and she will come to you. So obviously, the case will be clear. Diagnosis will be clear. But here I share one of my experience. One 69, 70 years lady by name Kalyani, and she's an old lady. She called me, and first time she was coming to me, and she said, "Can you treat eczema?" I said, "Yeah, please come in, do come in." And she came to me, and she has shown a patch, a lesion on the leg. It was very reddish, and I asked her, "How long you are having this?" "Around 6 months. Periodically it comes," and it looked like cellulitis. And she has been under treatment. Okay, it looked like a cellulitis. So that cellulitis, I said, "Amma, idu paakradhukku cellulitis madiri irukku, eczema madiri illa. Shall we try cellulitis medicines?" No other symptoms were available. Again, I referred my repertory, and I have chosen Apis mellifica. I think I have given her Artica urens alternatively, and it got healed off. Of course, along with that, I asked her to do some local applications and leg raising and all these things. So sometimes such type of things do happen.
Sir, how to treat familial tendency of anal fissures?
Yeah, anal fissures, I think it's the scope of homeopathy. Though in our surgery classes, they say anal fissure is a surgical case. I give 100% you can handle a surgical case. I mean, anal fissure. Don't send them to surgery. Even perianal abscess we can treat. Only thing is convincing the patient. How to convince? And I think Kerala people are mastered, I heard, in handling such cases. Kerala homeopaths are very good in that. Please handle it. Please handle it. It's a very good homeopathic case. We have a great scope in that.
Any therapeutics or therapeutic approach or constitution approach?
Therapeutics, sir, initially, because as I said, whenever the patient is in a hurry, whenever the patient is having severe pain, whenever the patient is unbearable, whenever the patient is forcing you to do something immediately, my opinion is please palliate it. I don't call this palliation. If you want organon support or classical support, take the acute totality. Patient is suffering right now, and he is telling, according to approach number 72, patient on his own accord. In acute cases, he tell you all the symptoms. Just write down them. What is his suffering? See, that is why in third year we have therapeutics. Why do we have therapeutics along with our surgery, along with our practice of medicine? We are reading Metamedica, right? If every case is constitutional, why are you asking your students name few remedies for fissure, names few remedies for bronchial asthma, name few remedies for diarrhea? Everything is constitutional approach, right? But that is wrongly taught according to us, according to me. Whenever any patient comes with a severe anal fissure pain, Retania, Silesia, or acid night, or graphitis, or Ledampal, petroleum, please relieve the patient first. He cannot cure any fissure in one day or with single dose, in my opinion. First, you have to relieve it. After that, constitution. This is the approach, classical approach.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Sir, share experience in biochemic medicine with some.
My experience with biochemic remedy is very, very less, sir. I use them as adjuvants in my treatment. Once the patient recovers, I may give them some remedies. Whenever I am so confident about my prescription, I'll give single dose like autoimmune disorders, and along with that, recommended biochemics I'll prescribe. Yeah, recently, after learning some tips from Dr. Kopikar, you might have heard of Dr. Kopikar, who is very famous in South India. He has written a book called as 70 Years of My Clinical Experience. After reading that book, I started prescribing Thyroidinum 3X, and I started using gunpowder 3X in abscess conditions. These two invariably I am trying. And in sugar cases, diabetic mellitus, uranium nitricum I tried, but I couldn't succeed. Other dynamic remedies are working rather than uranium nitricum in 3X.
Sir, any experience with uterine fibroids?
Yes, madam, I do. But it's a mixed response based on the size. I have maximum handled a case of 18 centimeter. I didn't treat it. I immediately recommended it for surgery. I didn't keep it. I had another case of a headmistress working in a government school, and she had around 6 to 7 fibroid, each measuring around 5 centimeter, and she's not willing to go to surgery. Yes, fibroid uterus I have treated. Some cases are improving, some cases are not improving, like the case which I told you now. Because the patient
Okay,
is
sir.
still with me, I'm experimenting, I can say.
Okay, so we can give constitutional medicine after giving
Yes,
palliative
doctor.
medicine.
Yes, doctor. My approach will be like generally we are studying in our gynecology classes. If the patient doesn't have pain, if the patient's bleeding is normal, if the patient's cycle is regular, in such cases, you can give a constitutional remedy. Classically, we can handle it because patient is not in pain. If the patient is having all these problems and acute exacerbations, first you have to control with our remedies. If the lady is bleeding miserably, we cannot ask her to stay with a single remedy, impractical.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, in case of these bleeding cases, do we have to handle with lower potencies or higher? What is your
Bleeding.
experience, sir?
Yeah, yes, madam. Practically speaking, I'll go for lower potencies and mother tincture. Like classically, Heinemanian method to give a support to my statement. Heinemann says, any symptoms before, during, and after in a female case becomes very important indications because these symptoms are general symptoms, general symptoms, which indicates the constitution of the patient. Before, during, and after. But for the patient, bleeding has to be stopped. Even in our medical side also, if continuously the lady bleeds, it will become a medical emergency, right? So somehow by any means we have to stop. That is what
Yes,
our
even the hemoglobin goes down. So is it safe to treat such cases? Like when they come with hemoglobin as low as 6 and all, because they must have had these complaints, and sometimes they come to us asking whether do you have any like they go to other system and finally they come to us asking as if we do some magic or something.
Yes, doctor. I think being a female doctor, your experience on such cases will be higher than mine because most of the ladies will go to you people. But how do I handle is if the hemoglobin level is very low, assuming 6 or sometimes I have seen 4 also. In such cases, I don't take the risk. I'll ask them to go to a lady doctor and get their advice. If it is around 9 or 8 or something like that, sometimes I myself will administer with iron tablets along with homeopathic medicines because I feel Ferromet, calcareous, or all these things will take some time. I told you, you like it or you don't like it. I do that.
Yes, sir.
Because for me, my patient is important.
No, it's not about liking. It's about each one's style.
No, I am open.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Because if I don't do that, tomorrow if she fall down, and it will bring a bad name to me, to homeopathy.
Yes, definitely. Yes, yes.
So I'll prescribe iron capsules along with my medications.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, doctor.
Okay. I think discussions are okay, isn't it? So on
At
behalf
your
of
service all the time.
yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
I can share, I can
Sure,
share.
it was nice and fine. So on behalf of this organizing committee, I would like to thank you, Dr.